Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back, students. I'm recording this session in the last due to the interruption with the Blackboard. In this session, I will just continue the chapter 4, which is most important for your midterm assessments. Right. So we have already completed most of the topic last session. I just will continue from the topics. The slides we missed it anyhow. We'll go with quick review. Okay, the chapter here. Business before we process what is business. Business process mapping, ERP and business process mapping. When I say business process, what is business process? Business process is series of activities which has some value to the organization. It is linked with lots of activities, interconnected activities, which has some results with positive value to the organization. Right? It's any kind of transactions we can say is a business process. Uh, right? So what we are going in this chapter is we are designing some tool. We are using some tools, some diagrammatic representation for ease for visualization of the business process. How do you see the business process? Because it is a series of activities, a series of tasks. Okay, how do you visualize with the help of diagrams? Okay, symbols. So some charts, some diagrams, some mapping diagrams. So that will help for the organization to build the business process smoothly, to understand the business process smoothly. And the main purpose of business process is also is to for preparation, a requirement preparing for the implementation of the ERP systems in the organization, right? So the main objective of business process to diagrammatic representation or visualization of the business process of the organization, of any industry, of any department. It's not complete organization. It's every transaction, every process. You will can easily visualize it. You can easily make some diagrammatic representation, right? uh, let's see, in this one here we have seen the diagrams. What is a system diagram? A graphical representation of system, right? So you should identify the system diagram used in business process, describe the what is business process, assess internal control procedures, policies, everything. You can easily assess, right, what is in. You can check it. You can check, are we are going in the, I mean, the flow of the transactions, the flow of the process. They can evaluate the design and change if any further requirement, any further improvement or performance. So let's see this business process map here. Business process map is a graphical technique that documents what is input and what is outputs, what are the activities and decision points, to show step-by-step procedure for a specific business process. Okay, so it's just like you just visualize it. You just graphical representation of your business process. It will show step by step what is input and what is output, what is first step, second step, third step, fourth step to complete. Like example, you are making and taking an admission in the college, GIC college, right? What is the step? First step, second step, right? You approach, you fill the form, you make a request, the form will process by the administration. Maybe the next the registration process, then admission process. Is there any checking, right? So all these activities are shown diagrammatically. Okay, so that's a business process map. I can say simply process map, right? It also has different names, can also called as a cross-functional flow chart or swim lane diagrams. Now here, business process map is kind of two types, you can say. As is business process map, you can say as it is, like as it is current. Though it means what in the current scenario. In the current scenario, what is the industry or the organization currently, the business, how the business process is getting, I mean, accomplished, right? Because it's getting running here. So current operating is getting operation, right? So it shows the diagrammatically what is current here, right? Basically this is very useful for a requirement, developing a requirement for the ERP system, right? So you have a business process in your organization, and how do you represent that one? That is called as is business process. You are not doing any changes, you are not doing any developing or anything. You are not making any changes into it. You are not making from the from the scratch. It is whatever in the currently available in your organization, okay, that has been visualized, and that is basically useful for as a requirement process, a requirement planning, or requirement for the ERP system to to implement. Second thing is to be, okay, is visual representation of redesign process. For example, to be is going to change it from as is to be, right? So this is basically useful for vendor supplies, okay. So this from there they can easily, you can easily identify what is the current company requirement in industry requirement based on the company vendors. When I say vendors here, it's a SAP, it is a Microsoft, right? It is Oracle, okay. So second, the element of in this chapter is role. The party responsible for an activity, though, who is executing these things, who are performing the transactions or activities, right? Like example here, we seen the student administration, right? So student is a role, administrators as a role, registrar is a role, right? So any IT people is a role. So these are the roles, these are the parties, right? So the roles may be an employees, okay, a stakeholders, it may be a partners, it may be a customer, right? So these are other, it's within the organization or outside the organization, it can be internal or external entity, right? The roles are within the organization, the roles from the outside of the organization entity, okay. So these are the different symbols we have seen. This one is basically just remember the first four symbols which are important for to understand the process map, right? So first one, rectangular shape, which is representing the activity, what activity or transactions you are performing. The second one is called decision making, decision checking your activity. Based on the activity you can make a decision point, right? Whether you want to proceed or roll back, or you just say yes, no, right? So it's like a rhombus, a diamond symbol. This is called a diamond or rhombus symbol. The third one is flow of process. Okay, what is the next step? It is connecting to it, a flow of information, a flow of data, a flow of information, right? Anything which is maybe any flow, maybe tangible, intangible, let's say any hardware or software or okay, information also, right? Like in physical goods, any items you can say. And this is start and stop of the map, right? Okay, so there are other important, but these first four are important for making, but you can read all these things, right? This is same thing here, and this is an example. Here's we have already discussed. I will explain this part again, inshallah, next in the next coming slides. Right. So, what are the benefits of business process mapping? I just explained you. The one of the main thing is the main objective is to represent the business process visually, diagrammatically. That's the main thing. So it will represent that defining the as is business process and clarifying the changes to be business process from the as is, from the current one. What is a proposed one? Can you, do you propose anything? Did you redesign it? Whatever you have in the current industry business process, in your current business process in your organization, is it as is, or you want it, or you want to be a business process, like something applying a BPR, business process reengineering, right? So this is useful for planning for ERP, one of the planning stage. We'll see this planning coming chapters, right, after midterm. Second thing, determining whether as is measures performance are appropriate and potential developing the new performance measure to be. Is it, you just determine whether, right? So whether this measure perform, it will improve the performance to be a business process, right? Identifying the parties means responsible parties are roles. Identifying the responsible roles. Who are the roles for this business process associated with this business process, right? Highlighting the workflow, you can easily identify the flow of work, how the work is flowing, and if inefficiencies, right? So where this, the process has been, maybe some such as like a underperformance, there is something stuck, it's like not doing job properly, or it's not having some issue with the system processes, right? It might be like bottlenecks. These are called bottleneck. Maybe one department is heavily congested with all lots of checking, lots of too much workload. So that's inefficiencies, right? Maybe costing, maybe it will cost more. So that's you can easily identify using the process map. And the understanding the internal control or detecting where it should be, like identifying the internal procedures are, I mean, who are involved in this one, and where it should be there, right? I mean, right place. They want to identify the right place of the transaction activities. Orientation and training new employees. For example, a new employee joining the company, they to want to know how the department or how the industry is working, how the organization is working. So by using the business process, he can easily understand that because it's very interactive to understand, right? uh, with the help of diagrams, symbols, right? Orientation, like animations, like I say. Serving an integral part of the company's policies, and it also helps in making procedures documentation purpose. That's the reason it will be easily provide as an orientation and training for the employees, right? For if you have any questions on anything, like any organization, how this department is working, so you can easily check the documentation which is available. The documentation has a representation of business with the help of business process map. So how do you get this business process? How do you build this business process map here? By help with some different methods. There are different methods to gather such information about the business process map. So self-generate method, you can say any expert or any owner, or for example, I am the owner of the sales department. Okay, I know the sales department. I know how the sales department works, right? Basically, maybe a senior or maybe a executive person. So I can provide the information for the industry, for the company. So these are the steps to accomplish the sales process of the transactions process, business sales process of the organization, right? So it's like generating by a person, preparer, you can say preparer, right? Personally, I can give the information. I know because I know how it's the process, how does it work. This is one way. Second way is one-to-one interview method. Now, for example, since the department is, I'm just taking one department, okay? Since department, you have can ask each and every individual, right? All the employees, I assume you can asking stakeholders, you're asking the employees, partners, individually you're asking, and you're gathering the information, right? Sequentially, based on that one, you can build the process map. Okay, this is another way. It's like one-on-one interview, individually, okay, separately. The last one, more efficient, more effective, and more accurate, or business process group interview, like a group discussion, like a meeting, debate. You can have a lot of people around the table, and they're discussing how the process can be map can be done. What are the they can have a discussion, debates, and they can build a more, I mean, like a effective way, so they can easily understand, collaborate, communication, any anything they can easily to generate participation, basically to participate all the people at once, and they can easily agree, basically they agree, and they can generate the process map. Okay, so this is considered as the most important and effective method for gathering the business process map information to build the business process, okay, map. All right, so these are all the business mapping roles. This is for the exam point of view not necessary. Okay, I'm just skipping this part. Okay, this slide level 11 is not, 12 is also not there, 13 also is not available. Okay, and 14 is also not available, 15 is okay, this is important, 15, 16, these two slides are important. There's only the two slides remaining here. So you see here example, he's explaining the example of business process map with the help of business process. What is the business process example here? Electricity order to cash narrative. Just explaining narration. Explaining how does it work? How does this work here? Now, after a customer browse the merchandise, he will feel like he wants to buy something. Merchandise, browses some items is buying, some material is want to buy from the, assume like one guy is approaching the company, right? A customer is approaching company to buy something, right? Customer is approaching here. You see, this is a business process map. Order to cash process. You make your order and pay the cash to get your job done. You buy the product right here. So here, after the customer browse the merchandise, like a lot of vendors are browsing the catalogs and products, he fill the order form. Okay, so he likes to make a request, an order request to buy the products, right? A sales clerk enters the order into the system, right? So here the sales clerk receive the fill the form by customer, the order will send to this sales clerk. A sales clerk will fill this form into some of his internal system, database system, ERP system, any business information system, any system, right? So to complete the order of the receive from the customer, right? So and there's the sales clerk then print out the picking ticket and hands out to the warehouse employee. So he will print the ticket, okay, order information, so and so order received from the customer, and this is a number of the order number, like any tracking you want to track, tracking number which is customer here. So order number, this will pick the ticket, receipt, you can say receipt or something, okay, a bill, okay, internal ticket, okay, he will give to the warehouse employee. Here the warehouse employee, you see, customer, sales clerk, warehouse, these are all roles, these are called different roles. Now these are all activities, okay, this is start of the activity, the rectangle shape is activity, this is a condition, decision, and this arrow Sahem is your flow of information, right? So you see, this is example of order to cash process. This slide is very, very important, Shabab. Okay, so this explanation is here. The sales, the warehouse employee locates the item in the warehouse and place them on a conveyor or belt for the sales clerk to give it to the customer. So whatever the order, based on the order and the ticket here, the warehouse employee, he will check the item is available in the warehouse, he will check the item is available in the inventory. If it is available, okay, he will deliver to the sales counter. From the sales counter, he will give back to the customer, right? Okay, this is the simple way. Now you can say here, if the item is not in the stock, the process terminates because it's not available. So the process is, item is not available, so you cannot buy, right? That's very clear. So this is a checking here, okay, series of checking here. So this item is available, yes. If it is yes, it will deliver to the customer, otherwise it will end, not available, right? It will may go another process, make the item, build the item, produce the item, right? So that is another process, like production department, that's another process will open, okay, it depends upon the, just is explaining about the order to cash, assuming everything is available here. So deliver item to the customer, here said it's given. If the item are in stock, the customer inspect the merchandise, okay, whatever the item you want to buy here, he will inspect. If he want, after inspecting, okay, it looks good, perfect, so if you want to buy, he will go to the next payments process, otherwise it will end, he don't want it, right? It will check the item, he will inspect the item. Inspection means checking or verifying the items, whatever is required based on the order, does it inquire, it is available in the merchandise, right? So here there's one thing here, if the customer decides to purchase the merchandise, she pays for it, and the sales clerk process the sale and payment again. So he will ready for payment again, the sales clerk, he will take the payment, it will enter in the system. Based on this order, he got the payment, right? The payment done, the receipt will be given back to the customer. Like we are buying some simple, we are buying some online, online purchasing. So we make an order, we pay the money, we'll get the product, our product. So this is so how this process, like how this process is take place, this is the order to cash process. This is simple one way of designing, one way of one example here. Many different companies has different way of doing the business process, okay, different style here, okay. So how does the example, this is not necessary, 17 18 the chapter finished, okay. This is another example, okay. So it's not necessary, just one example is enough. So until the slide number 16 is there, 15 16 is very, very important for the exam point of view, okay. So the slides are not necessary, like 14 13, I can say here 12, but I would suggest to read it once, okay. So this is 10 is important here, 10 is important, right? So that's it. So hopefully you will understand this part. If you have any questions, please write an email to me, okay.